I worked at Tech Solutions for years, and despite my commitment and innovative ideas, I always felt that I was not valued. David Harper, my boss, often ignored my suggestions. I remember a particular meeting where I presented a proposal for a new software that could revolutionize our market. With detailed slides and robust market research, I was confident. "David, I believe this new tool could increase our efficiency by at least 30% and reduce costs by 20%, I said, trying to hide my anxiety. David gave me an uninterested look and shook his head. "Amanda, we already have many projects underway. Let's focus on what is already in development. Leave these ideas for later." Those words cut deep. After never came. I spent months trying to prove myself, but it seemed like everything I did was in vain. My colleagues saw me as a dedicated professional, but they also seemed resigned to the idea that my ideas weren't going anywhere. Finally, after a sleepless night, I decided it was time for a change. The next morning, I walked into the office with my decision made. I found David in the coffee room and approached him. "David, I need to talk to you," I began, trying to keep my voice steady. He looked up from his coffee cup in surprise. "Of course, Amanda. What happened?" "I'm resigning. I'm tired of my ideas being ignored. I know I can do more, and I'm going to do it on my own." David looked stunned. "Are you serious?" "Amanda, think about it. You have a good job here." "I've thought a lot, David. And that's exactly why I'm making this decision," I replied, my voice more confident now. I left the office feeling a mix of relief and fear. I knew I was embarking on an uncertain journey, but I also knew I couldn't continue in a place where my potential wasn't recognized. In the days that followed, I felt the contempt and doubt of many of my former colleagues. Some even laughed when they heard about my plans to start my own company. "She won't last a month," I heard one of them say as he walked down the hall. But I was determined. I started planning DG Innovate, a startup focused on technological innovation, something I always dreamed of doing. I spent sleepless nights preparing the business plan, researching the market and defining the company's mission and values. One of those nights, I received a message from Jake, a brilliant programmer at Tech Solutions with whom I've always had a good relationship. "Amanda, I heard about your decision. I think you're right. If you need help, I'm in." I felt a warmth in my heart when I read those words. Jake has always supported me, even if silently. I immediately responded, "Jake, it would be an honor to have you on this journey with me. Let's build DG Innovate into something great." With Jake by my side, I began recruiting other talent who, like me, felt undervalued at Tech Solutions. With each new hire, I felt like we were building something special, something that could really make a difference. The journey was just beginning, and despite the uncertainties and challenges, I knew I had made the right choice. DG Innovate was a chance to prove myself and show everyone, including David Harper and my former colleagues, that they underestimated my potential. I decided it was time to take control of my professional life. After years of frustration and neglect at Tech Solutions, I finally found the courage to leave and follow my own path. One of the first people I thought of was Jake, that brilliant, silent programmer who always quietly supported me. "Jake, I need to talk to you," I said, walking into the break room where he was drinking coffee. He looked up, curious. "I'm leaving Tech Solutions and starting my own company. I want you to come with me." He was silent for a moment, absorbing the information. "Amanda, are you serious? This is amazing. But it's a big step. Are you sure?" "Yes, Jake. I'm tired of being underestimated. I know I have the potential to do something great, and I want you by my side. You're one of the few here who has always believed in me." A slight smile appeared on his face. "If you're in, I'm in. Let's do this." From that moment on, Jake and I began working tirelessly to build DG Innovate. My small living room turned into our first office. We spent entire nights discussing ideas, developing codes and devising strategies. "We need more talent," Jake said one day, as we looked at our laptop screen. We can't do this alone. I agreed. And I know exactly where to find those people. There's a lot of underappreciated talent at Tech Solutions, just like us. Let's bring them here. And so we did. With a few discreet calls and meetings, we were able to recruit an all-star team. There was Sarah, a brilliant graphic designer whose ideas were never valued, and Lucas, a digital marketing specialist who always had his strategies ignored. Each of them had a similar story to Jake and I, of devaluation and frustration. "Welcome to DG Innovate," I said, at our first team meeting. "Here, every idea will be heard, and every talent will be recognized. We are here to revolutionize." The energy in the room was palpable. Everyone was motivated and eager to prove themselves. We worked together like a true family, sharing ideas, challenges and victories. The collaboration was intense, but there were also moments of relaxation and laughter, which strengthened our bond even further. "We have something special here," Lucas said one night as we all celebrated the completion of a big project. "I've never felt so valued in a work environment." I smiled, feeling a surge of pride and gratitude. That's exactly what I wanted to create. A place where everyone feels important and motivated. Our dedication began to pay off quickly. In a short time, we managed to develop an innovative product that promised to transform the market. It was business management software, but with features and an interface that had never been seen before. "Are we ready to launch?" I asked, looking at my team gathered in the meeting room. "We're more than ready," Sarah replied, with a twinkle in her eye. "Let's show the world what we are capable of." The launch was a resounding success. The media started to take notice of DG Innovate, and important clients started knocking on our door. The feeling of seeing our work being recognized and valued was indescribable. However, we knew that the real battle was just beginning. Tech Solutions, our former company, certainly wasn't happy to see us prosper. But now, with the united and determined team, we were ready to face any challenge that came our way. "Let's keep it up, guys," I said, in one of our feedback meetings. "We're just getting started. The future is ours." And with that, DG Innovate continued to grow, fueled by the passion and talent of a team that, finally, found the recognition it deserved. As the months passed, DG Innovate grew visibly. Each day brought new challenges, but also new achievements. The startup was starting to make noise in the market and inevitably caught the attention of Tech Solutions. I knew it would happen sooner or later, but I never imagined how ruthless David Harper could be. It all started with small interferences. A few weeks after launching our first product, we realized that confidential information was being leaked. I was in a meeting with Jake, discussing the next steps in development, when he mentioned something that set me on edge. "Amanda, have you noticed how some of our ideas are appearing in competing products? Do you think someone is spying on us?" I asked, feeling a chill run down my spine. Jake nodded, with a serious look. "I don't know how, but it looks like someone is inside our system." This suspicion led us to reinforce our security measures, but the worst was yet to come. Days later, one of our best developers, Laura, came to me with a worried expression. "Amanda, I need to talk to you." "Of course, Laura. What happened?" "I received an offer from Tech Solutions. They offered me a much higher salary than what I earn here and promised a leadership role." I felt a tightness in my chest. It was clear that David was trying to destabilize our team. I took a deep breath before responding. "What are you going to do?" She hesitated, looking at the floor. "I like working here, Amanda. But the offer is tempting." "Laura, I understand. I really do. But I want you to know that here, at DG Innovate, you have the opportunity to grow with the company. You are a fundamental part of our team. Think carefully before making a decision." She nodded and thanked me, but the fear of losing more team members haunted me. I knew I couldn't compete financially with Tech Solutions at that time, but I had to find a way to keep my team together and motivated. The situation got worse when we discovered that our suppliers were being contacted by Tech Solutions, who were offering higher prices to monopolize the materials we needed. I was in my office, reviewing contracts, when my phone rang. "Amanda, it's Mark from purchasing. We have a problem." "What happened, Mark?" "Our main suppliers are canceling contracts. Tech Solutions is offering absurdly high prices for exclusivity." I felt a wave of frustration and anger. Damn it, David Harper. I needed to act quickly. I made some calls and managed to negotiate with new suppliers, but the situation was becoming increasingly complicated. At night, at home, I could barely sleep. The pressure was mounting, and I knew I needed to find a way to protect my company and my team. It was on one of those sleepless nights that I had an idea. "Jake, we need a contingency plan. Something that will allow us to continue operating even under these circumstances." "I was already thinking about that, Amanda. We're going to start developing partnerships with smaller startups and focus on alternative supply solutions." With this plan in mind, we began working tirelessly. The team was aware of the situation, and surprisingly, this only strengthened our spirit of togetherness. Every challenge David threw at us was an opportunity to show our resilience and creativity. The war with Tech Solutions was intensifying, but I was determined not to let them bring us down. Each blow we received made us stronger, and I knew that in the end, our perseverance and hard work would be rewarded. And so, with each obstacle overcome, DG Innovate continued to grow, gaining more and more space and recognition in the market. I was ready to face anything that came my way, confident that my team and I were on the right path to success. Family pressure has always been a constant in my life, but it intensified even more when I made the decision to leave Tech Solutions to found DG Innovate. My mother, Maria Collins, is a renowned lawyer and has always had very high expectations for me. To her, the idea of leaving a stable job to start a startup seemed crazy. "You're throwing your career away, Amanda," she said, with that tone of disapproval I knew so well. "You have a great salary, benefits, security. Why risk all of that for a dream?" "Mom, I need to do this," I would respond, trying to contain my frustration. "I can't stay in a place where my ideas are constantly ignored. I have the potential for so much more, and DG Innovate is my chance to show that." "But what if it doesn't work out? What if you lose everything?" she insisted, her eyes full of concern. "If I don't try, I'll never know. And if I lose everything, at least I'll have tried," I replied, trying to convey a confidence I didn't always feel. The situation got worse when we lost an important contract because of sabotage by Tech Solutions. It was a project with a large client, something that could significantly leverage DG Innovate. When I received the news, I felt a tightness in my chest. I knew this would give my mother more ammunition. "I told you, Amanda," she spoke into the phone, her tone a mix of frustration and sadness. "I warned you this could happen. Now look, you're losing important contracts and putting everything at risk." "It's not my fault, Mom," I replied, trying to remain calm. "Tech Solutions is playing dirty. They are trying to sabotage us because they know we are a threat." "That doesn't change the fact that you're in a vulnerable position," she continued. "You should have known better before leaving Tech Solutions." "I thought, Mom. I thought a lot. And I still believe I made the right choice," I said, trying to hide the pain in my voice. "I just need you to trust me. I know what I'm doing." The conversation always ended the same way, with her disappointed and me more determined to prove I was right. At the same time, the internal pressure also increased. I knew I couldn't fail, not just for myself, but to show my mother that she was wrong. Jake, always a pillar of support, tried to console me after losing the contract. "Amanda, we will get through this. Tech Solutions may try to take us down, but we will not give up," he said, his voice full of conviction. "I know, Jake," I replied, feeling a lump in my throat. "But it's hard when even my own family doesn't believe me." "You have us," he said, placing a hand on my shoulder. "We're in this together, and we're going to prove to everyone that DG Innovate is stronger than any sabotage." These words gave me the strength to continue. I knew the journey wouldn't be easy, but I had a dedicated team by my side, and even with family pressures, I was determined to make DG Innovate prosper. I needed to show the world, and my mother, that following my own path was the right choice. Meanwhile, I develop an unexpected relationship with Ethan, a mysterious and charming investor who decides to back DG Innovate. At first, I was very skeptical about accepting help from an outsider, especially because I wanted DG Innovate to be my own thing, without having to depend on anyone. But Ethan, with his calm and confident approach, managed to convince me otherwise. I remember clearly the day we met. I was at a technology conference, trying to attract investors for our project. I was taking a break, having a coffee, when he approached. "You're Amanda Collins, right? I've heard a lot about DG Innovate. Can I sit down?" he said, with a smile that, I admit, left me a little disconcerted. "Sure, feel free," I replied, trying to sound uninterested but curious about how he knew so much about me and my startup. We started talking, and it soon became clear that Ethan wasn't just another investor. He had in-depth market knowledge and a strategic vision that could really benefit DG Innovate. He suggested several ideas that could help us grow, including new partnerships and approaches to securing investment. "I truly believe in the potential of your company, Amanda. And I honestly think that together we can do something amazing," he said, looking into my eyes with a sincerity that was hard to ignore. Despite my initial reservations, I decided to give Ethan a chance. And I didn't regret it. It has truly become crucial to DG Innovate's expansion, helping us secure new investments and strategic partnerships. With your help, we were able to close agreements with companies that I would never have imagined having access to. Over time, our relationship went beyond professional. We spent long hours discussing business strategies, but we also started sharing personal stories. I discovered that Ethan had a complicated past, full of challenges that he overcame with great determination. This only increased my admiration for him. One night, after a particularly exhausting meeting, we were sitting in the office, just the two of us. We were exhausted but pleased with the progress we had made. "You know, Amanda," he began, his tone softer than usual, "I've never met someone with as much passion and determination as you. It's inspiring." I felt my cheeks flush a little, but I tried to maintain my composure. "Thank you, Ethan. I couldn't have gotten this far without your help." He moved a little closer, and for a moment, I felt a tension between us that was more than just professional. "I truly believe in you, Amanda. And it's not just because of DG Innovate. It's because of who you are." That night marked the beginning of something deeper between us. However, the complexity of our feelings was intensified by the fact that Ethan had ties to Tech Solutions. I knew I needed to be careful, but I couldn't help the connection I felt with him. As our relationship developed, Ethan continued to be a pillar of support for DG Innovate. He brought us investors who believed in our potential and helped us close strategic partnerships that were crucial to our growth. Every step we took together seemed to strengthen not only the company, but also our bond. There were times when I found myself thinking about how quickly everything was happening. But looking at Ethan, I felt a renewed confidence. He helped me look beyond the immediate challenges and focus on DG Innovate's future potential. Over time, I realized that despite the challenges and complexity of our relationship, Ethan was an essential part of my journey. He helped me see my own strength and believe in my dream more than ever. And because of that, I knew I was on the right path, both personally and professionally. I was sitting at my desk, reviewing the final details of the contract that could transform DG Innovate's fortunes. It was a huge contract with one of the industry's leading companies, something I couldn't even dream of while working at Tech Solutions. The weeks of intense negotiations and sleepless nights were finally about to pay off. "Do you think everything is ready, Amanda?" Jake asked, walking into my office with an expectant smile. "Yes, Jake. I'm finalizing the last details. This contract will take us to a new level," I replied, feeling a mix of anxiety and excitement. News of the impending deal began to spread quickly, and soon the media was all over us, wanting to know more about DG Innovate and the woman behind its success. I gave several interviews, talking about the company's journey, the difficulties we faced and how we managed to overcome them. More and more, I realized that our story was inspiring others to believe in their own dreams. One of the most exciting moments was when my mother, who had always been skeptical about my venture, called me. I was in the middle of the final contract signing meeting when my phone rang. I looked at the display and saw her name. I excused myself for a moment and answered the call. "Amanda, I saw the news." "I'm so proud of you," she said, her voice cracking with emotion. "Thanks, Mom. It means a lot to me to hear that from you," I replied, feeling the warmth of his words envelop me. "I know I was hard on you. I only wanted the best for you, but now I see that you knew exactly what you were doing," she continued. "I'm here to support you in anything you need. It means the world to me, Mom." "I never gave up because I knew I could make a difference," I said, trying to hold back the tears. I hung up the phone and returned to the meeting room with new strength. We signed the contract, and DG Innovate was officially on the map as one of the most promising companies in the sector. The celebration was immediate, and when I returned to the office, I was welcomed by the entire team with applause and shouts of joy. "This is just the beginning, guys. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but today, let's celebrate," he said, raising a glass of champagne. That night, as we toasted our success, I thought about the entire journey up to that point. I remembered the days at Tech Solutions, the frustrations, the rejected ideas, and the feeling of being underestimated. But I also thought about how all of this shaped me, made me stronger and more determined. Jake approached me with a satisfied smile. "Amanda, you made this happen. I always knew you had something special." "I didn't do this alone, Jake. You all made this possible. We are a team, a family," I replied, hugging him. As the celebration continued, I realized that the recognition we were receiving was not just about DG Innovate's success, but about validation of all the hard work and dedication we all put in. And finally, feeling genuine support from my mother was the icing on the cake. Now, more than ever, I knew we could face any challenge that came our way. That night, I returned home exhausted but with a sense of satisfaction I had never experienced before. DG Innovate was growing, and so was I, as a leader and as a person. The journey was just beginning, and I couldn't wait to see what the future held for us. When I discovered Ethan had ties to Tech Solutions, I felt like the ground had dropped out from under my feet. I was in my office, reviewing some documents, when a message arrived on my cell phone. It was an old photo of Ethan next to David Harper, my former boss. At that moment, a whirlwind of thoughts invaded me. How could he betray me like that? I called Jake immediately. "Jake, do you have a minute? I need to talk to you now." My voice was shaking with anger and disappointment. "Of course, Amanda. I'm heading to your office," he replied, hearing the urgency in my tone. When Jake came in, I showed him the photo. "Look at this. Ethan and David together. How was I so blind?" Jake studied the photo for a moment and then looked at me with concern. "Amanda, this doesn't necessarily mean he's cheating on us. We need more information before we jump to conclusions." I took a deep breath, trying to calm down. "You're right, Jake. But I can't just ignore this. We need to investigate further." We decided to gather as much information as possible about Ethan's past. We hired a private investigator and began to dig into every detail of his professional and personal life. As the weeks passed, the tension between Ethan and me only increased. I avoided casual encounters and kept our conversations strictly professional. One night, Ethan noticed my distant behavior and confronted me. "Amanda, what's going on? Why are you so distant lately?" I stared at him, trying to stay calm. "Ethan, I found a photo of you with David Harper. I need to know the truth. Are you working with him? Are you spying on us?" He was visibly shocked. "Amanda, I can explain. Yes, I know David, but it's not what you think." "Then explain," I replied, crossing my arms. Ethan sighed deeply before starting. "I came to Tech Solutions for a purpose. David Harper is corrupt and has deplorable business practices. I infiltrated the company to expose his actions and help startups like DG Innovate thrive. My heart pounded in my chest as I tried to process his words. And why didn't you tell me this before? I couldn't risk it. I needed to make sure you and your team were safe. I have proof of everything, Amanda. Documents, emails, everything that shows Tech Solutions sabotage, he said, taking a flash drive out of his pocket and handing it to me. Still suspicious, I took the pen drive. I'll look into that. If you're lying, Ethan, you have no place in my life or my company. He nodded. I understand, Amanda. Do whatever you need. I spent the whole night analyzing the documents. Each file I opened revealed more and more about David Harper's corrupt practices. Espionage, sabotage, bribes. It was all true. Ethan wasn't lying. The next day, I called Jake and the rest of the team for an urgent meeting. Guys, I know you've all noticed my recent tension. I discovered that Ethan has ties to Tech Solutions, but his intentions are not what we expected. He was there to expose David Harper's corrupt practices and help us. We have proof of all sabotage against DG Innovate. Jake looked relieved and worried at the same time. So what's the next step? We're going to expose Tech Solutions publicly. We're going to take this evidence to the media and make sure everyone knows what David Harper did, I stated firmly. And so, with Ethan's help, we began planning our strategy for exposing Tech Solutions. The trust between Ethan and me was restored, but it became clear that our relationship would never be the same. Still, I knew I needed to move forward, both for DG Innovate and for myself. When I began to suspect Ethan's true intentions, my stomach turned. I couldn't believe that he, a person who proved to be so essential to the growth of my company, could have connections with Tech Solutions. The feeling of betrayal was overwhelming, but I knew I needed to find out the truth. I decided to look for clues about Ethan's past. I spent sleepless nights combing through documents, records, and even talking to former Tech Solutions colleagues. Details slowly began to emerge, like pieces of a puzzle finally falling into place. One night, while reviewing some old documents, I found a crucial clue. An email from David Harper to an unknown investor mentioned Operation Cleanup, a code I couldn't crack. I knew I needed to confront Ethan, but not before I had more proof. The next day, I arranged to meet Ethan at a discreet cafe downtown. My heart was racing as I waited for him. When he arrived, his usual smile seemed more like a disguise than a genuine gesture. Ethan, we need to talk, I began, trying to remain calm. He leaned forward, interested. Of course, Amanda. What is happening? I took a deep breath and showed the email I had found. What do you know about Operation Cleanup? I saw the look of surprise cross his face, but he quickly regained his composure. Amanda, I can explain, he said, in a serious voice full of sincerity. Yes, I had connections with Tech Solutions, but not in the way you think. I crossed my arms, waiting for an explanation. I infiltrated Tech Solutions to expose David Harper's corrupt practices. He was sabotaging promising startups to maintain the company's monopoly on the market. I couldn't allow this to continue, he explained, taking a folder from his pocket. Here are the documents that prove the espionage and sabotage committed by Tech Solutions. I opened the folder and started reading the documents. There was irrefutable evidence, emails, recordings of conversations, and even testimonies from Tech Solutions employees. My heart was pounding, now not with anger, but with relief. Ethan was by my side the whole time. Why didn't you tell me this before? I asked, still trying to process everything. I wanted to protect you and DG Innovate. If David had known you had this information, he might have acted even more aggressively against us. I needed to wait for the right moment, he replied, holding my hand. Amanda, I never wanted to betray you. Everything I did was to ensure his dream could prosper. The sincerity in his eyes was undeniable. Finally, I felt like I could trust him again. So what do we do now? I asked, determined. Let's expose Tech Solutions. The media needs to know the truth, Ethan said, with conviction. In the following days, we worked tirelessly to gather all the evidence and prepare a complete dossier. With the help of some press contacts, we managed to schedule a press conference to reveal everything. On the day of the press conference, the room was full of journalists and reporters. I was nervous, but I knew it was the right time to act. I went up on stage, with Ethan by my side, and started talking. Today, we are here to expose the corrupt and unethical practices of Tech Solutions. For years, they sabotaged promising startups to maintain their monopoly on the market. But today, that ends. I showed all the documents and evidence we had gathered. The media reaction was immediate and intense. Reporters asked questions, camera flashes lit up the room, and I felt like I was finally getting justice. When the press conference ended, I felt a huge weight lift off my shoulders. Ethan smiled at me, and I knew that together, we had done the right thing. Tech Solutions would face investigations and lawsuits, and DG Innovate was stronger than ever. The journey wasn't over yet, but for the first time in a long time, I felt like we were on the right path. When I finally had all the evidence in hand, the decision to expose Tech Solutions publicly seemed like the only moral choice. The sleepless nights and tension accumulated throughout the investigative process were about to pay dividends. Ethan, we have to do this right, I said, holding up the documents proving the espionage and sabotage committed by David Harper and his team. Ethan, with a look of determination, agreed. Let's get this over with once and for all, Amanda. The next morning was frantic. We prepared a complete dossier of all the documents and evidence Ethan had collected, including incriminating emails, suspicious financial records, and testimonies from former Tech Solutions employees. We need a plan to get this out, Jake said, his voice full of excitement and nervousness. The media needs to receive this information in such a way that there is no doubt about the veracity of the facts. We opted for a press conference, something that would guarantee maximum visibility. We contacted influential journalists and renowned media outlets, presenting them with a preview of the documents. It didn't take long for the story to gain traction. Amanda, are you sure you want to go through with this? The pressure will be enormous, Ethan asked, worried. Absolutely, Ethan. They need to be held accountable for what they did. Not just for me, but for everyone else who was harmed. On the day of the press conference, the hall was packed. I could feel the tension in the air, but also a sense of impending justice. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today, I began, trying to keep my voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions. Over the past few weeks, my team and I have uncovered a series of malpractices committed by David Harper and Tech Solutions. What you will see here today is the culmination of our investigations. We present the documents, one by one, detailing each unfair maneuver, each attempt at sabotage. Journalists were taking notes frantically, and the sound of camera clicks echoed through the room. This evidence leaves no doubt about Tech Solutions' unethical conduct. We hope that this triggers the necessary investigations and that justice is served, I concluded. The reaction was immediate. Headlines blared across all the major news portals: Tech Solutions embroiled in corporate espionage scandal, CEO David Harper accused of sabotage, startup exposing tech giant. David Harper's reputation, which he valued so much, was in ruins. He tried to defend himself, but the evidence was irrefutable. Tech Solutions was placed under intense investigation, and legal cases began to pile up. Back at the DG Innovate office, the atmosphere was one of relief and celebration. We did it, Amanda. We finally did it. Jake exclaimed, hugging me. The team was elated, but we knew there was still work to do. This is just the beginning, folks. Now we can move forward without fear, knowing that our integrity has been maintained, he said, trying to keep everyone focused. Ethan, who had been crucial to the entire process, pulled me aside. Amanda, I'm so proud of you. It's been a difficult journey, but you maintained your integrity and fought for what was right. I felt a warmth in my chest when I heard that. I couldn't have done this without you, Ethan. Thank you for believing in me and DG Innovate. The victory over Tech Solutions gave us new confidence. Companies that were previously hesitant to work with us now saw DG Innovate as an example of resilience and ethics in the market. Our contracts began to multiply, and the media continued to give us positive visibility. My mother, who had always been skeptical, finally began to see the value in my work. "Amanda, I was wrong. You proved that you can be successful by having integrity. I'm so proud of you," she said, with tears in her eyes. "Thank you, Mom. Your support means the world to me," I responded, emotional. With Tech Solutions on the decline and DG Innovate on the rise, our future looked brighter than ever. We were ready to conquer the world, one innovation at a time. That day was about to become one of the most important days of my life. I still remember the feeling of empowerment and determination I felt when entering the meeting room where Tech Solutions' fate would be sealed. The company that once underestimated me was now about to become part of my empire, DG Innovate. When I received the proposal to buy Tech Solutions, I confess I was surprised. The company was on the verge of bankruptcy, and this was an opportunity one had never imagined. But I knew that, in addition to being a strategic move, this acquisition had immense symbolic value. It was my chance to show everyone, especially David Harper, that I was more than capable. "Jake, you won't believe what happened," I said, rushing into our conference room at DG Innovate. "What are you talking about, Amanda?" Jake replied, looking up from his laptop, clearly intrigued. "We got an offer to buy Tech Solutions." "They're desperate," I explained, with a smile I couldn't contain. Jake's eyes widened, and for a moment, silence reigned in the room. "Are you serious? That's amazing. What do you plan to do?" "I'll accept, of course. But that's not all. I have plans for this acquisition," I stated firmly. The negotiation was quick. David Harper looked haggard, almost unrecognizable. It was hard to believe that this was the same man who had so often ignored my ideas and belittled my potential. When the contract was signed, the feeling of victory was almost palpable. "David, I'd like you to know that this decision isn't just a business move for me. It's personal. You underestimated my worth and now, you're paying the price for it," I said, looking straight into his eyes. David lowered his head, speechless. A part of me felt a small pang of pity, but then I remembered all the times I felt devalued and neglected. This was my time to shine. One of the first actions I took after the acquisition was to fire David Harper. The news spread quickly, and the reaction was mixed. Some Tech Solutions employees were relieved, others were apprehensive about the future. But I had a clear plan. "Jake, are you ready for a new challenge?" I asked, as we walked through the old Tech Solutions headquarters, now ours. "Of course, Amanda." "What do you have in mind?" he replied, curious. "I want you to take on leadership of the new integrated division. I have complete confidence in your capabilities and I know you can transform this here," I declared, with conviction. Jake smiled, visibly moved. "Thank you, Amanda. I won't let you down." With Jake in charge of the new division, the integration of Tech Solutions into DG Innovate began to take shape. The team was motivated and, little by little, the initial resistance dissipated. The vision I had for this new phase was coming to fruition. In the midst of all this transformation, one of the most moving moments was my mother's reaction. She always pressured me to follow a traditional path, but finally, seeing all my effort and success, she changed her perspective. "I never doubted your potential, Amanda. I just wanted the best for you," she said, teary-eyed, during a family dinner. "I know, Mom. And I appreciate that. But now, I know that I can walk my own path, and having you by my side means a lot to me," I replied, feeling enormous gratitude. The acquisition of Tech Solutions was not only a milestone in my career, but also proof that, with determination and courage, we can transform adversities into opportunities. The journey so far was full of challenges, but each obstacle overcome made the victory even sweeter. DG Innovate continued to grow, and the story of our rise has served as an inspiration to many. The revenge was complete, but most importantly, I had found my true purpose and earned the respect and recognition I had always deserved.